Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, pleasant surprise, maybe. We have a kit that's been loaned to the channel very kindly by Neil from Creative Time Wasting. He has popped up and said, Peter, do you want to review this Italeri kit? And my heart sank, to be quite honest. And I'm sure he knew. He was kind of pulling my leg at first because I think he already knew that I'd had a bit of a run-in with Italeri over this one. So let me explain the background before we get into this kit, which I haven't touched yet, so I don't know what's in it. And I am going to take a completely fresh view. I'm not going to be jaded by previous issues, but I'll tell you what did happen. So I had the first version of this, which came out 2019, I think it was, 2018. I think it was Christmas 2018, thereabouts. Which we've waited a fair while for. So it's Italeri's Tornado GR.1. Now, of course, previously we've had the Revell GR.1 in 1/32 scale. It's a big old scale. And it's horribly showing its age. Wasn't that great a kit. Not terrible. I'm not slagging it or anything. For the price that Revell were charging, it was actually quite a good, reasonably decent kit. But there's a lot of issues with it. A lot of predictable problems with intakes and all that stuff. And the seams and this, that. Anyway. I had at one point, I think I owned 6 of those. I had a stash of them and I sold them off just before this came out. This got delayed, the early version of this one got delayed in 2018. It was supposed to come out about 2015, I think. And I ended up selling off my little stash of these Revell Tornadoes at quite a good profit. Oh, dirty word, not to say that under the new government, are you? Anyway, I made a small profit on them, a reasonable profit. They're all mint examples as well, which was nice. So that was the background, and we were longing for this new kit. And then when we got it, I did not have a very good experience. Now, I've not had a brilliant experience. I say this at the beginning. Get the elephant in the room right out of the way. I've not had a great experience with the Italeri kits. I've had, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them over the years that I've made. There's the most recent one that springs to mind was the Hurricane Mark 1 from Italeri that was rebadged as a Tamiya, like a dual boxing thing. Tamiya actually put their name on it, which I think it was a big mistake. Some silly, horrible design features in it, which were made a lot of challenges that weren't needed for the modeler around the gun bays, gun ports, I should say, on the front of the wing, and the way that the cockpit and the windscreen, the clear parts, just weren't even the same shape and didn't match. There was no proper location. But anyway, it was a bad experience, and the Hurricane looks. It's not my best work either, because I'm like that. If it's a bad kit, I think, okay. Yes, I have overcome very bad kits like the Kinetic Sea Harrier and the Mirage Medward and got great results, but I just lost interest in this, and I did a sort of an 8 out of 10 job on it, on a kit that was like a 6, 7 out of 10 at best. Then along came the Tornado, so I did the review on it. Lo and behold, I'm going to name names in this video, so 1 or 2 suppliers might want to look away now, quite frankly. I bought the kit from Wonderland Models. It was actually a present from my wife, a Christmas present. And I had a very disappointing experience. And it's not the only, and there are going to be 3 disappointing experiences with UK suppliers. I'm going to name them, I'm sorry. I've gone past the stage of covering up for people who don't really, deserve it. So, but basically what happened was Wonderland Models, I contacted them, and I said, the canopy's broken off the sprue, and there's a couple of clear parts off. And I showed this in the review, so some of you will remember this. And I won't go into all the details, but I got a very poor response from them indeed, saying we can't help you. It was sent, it was also late, by the way. It went walkabout for a day or 2, despite being expected on a certain date. It didn't arrive 2 days later. Oh, well, we put it with the courier. It's not our fault. You have to take it with the courier and all this. And they just didn't seem to care less. Didn't offer to replace it. I was very, very disappointed with the response. And I've not bought from Wonderland since. I regret to say. I've been in their store. It's a great store. I'm not trying to put you off going there. But mail order, I've not had a good experience. Yeah, I actually have had a good experience in store. No problems at all. But I don't find their postal service. And this is going to apply to others. So you better watch out. This is going to turn into a little rant at the beginning before we even get to this kit. Neil already knows about this, so he knows what's coming. But what I ended up doing was going to Hobbyco, and I think it was Mark at Hobbyco, who's one of the senior guys there. I can't remember his official title. I think he may be one of the directors. He was incredibly helpful, and within a couple of weeks, he managed to find a kit that they had for cannibalising for parts, and he got me this new parts, no charge to me. Really helpful service from Hobbyco in Milton Keynes, the importer and distributor. Very grateful to them, and I said to them, Wonderland have let you down, they're letting the brand down by being so poor on customer service, and it was a bad experience, and I complained and I got no satisfaction from them whatsoever. So there you go. So there's one to avoid. Then winding straight forward, so I then went through and did the review, and we had a bit of a mixed experience. Quite apart from the broken parts, there were some issues with the instructions I wasn't very happy with, and I ended up by saying the problem with this kit from the day it arrived was that it was overpriced. Now I think that lesson has been learned a little bit with here, because this is retailing, Neil tells me, £135, and he's bought it from Hannants. Now that was the price I paid, or my wife paid, for the kit that didn't have the new extra parts in it. So you can see it was overpriced, and they quickly dropped to about £100, between 95 and 105 became the going price for the standard kit. So you can see that, you know, I was right, and I wasn't alone. Others thought that this was a bit pricey for what was included, really. It wasn't Tamiya standards, and it didn't have those sort of extras or that, those wondrous instructions and all those wonderful things that we expect at that price, you know. And that was retailing at the time almost as high as the Mosquito from Tamiya. Now, I'm sorry, but different, like they're made by a different species off a different planet. However, I did like the kit, I liked it, and I summarised it and said, well, it's only a 6.5 out of 10 if you pay £135. If you pay £100, 8.5 out of 10. Now, it would have been 9 out of 10 in fairness had I not had the broken parts and the terrible experience with the merchant. But there we are. So wind forward now. Neil sends me this, just arrived a week ago. In fact, it arrived the day before my Spitfire flight, but enough of that, we've talked about that enough already. But it caused a bit of a delay because I've been working on a lot of YouTube videos for that and did a lot of editing, and it's really delayed me from looking at it, which is unfortunate because I think it's going to be quite a good package. Now this is suddenly a better proposition at this price, same price again, but now we've got a lot more in the box. However, and this is where it becomes a rant part 2 on suppliers. We've already had one supplier that hasn't performed very well, I'm afraid, and I think this is getting worse. I'm seeing more and more of it. So I'm going to show you the box it came in, which is sitting right behind me, but let me zoom you in. This is how the box was when I actually opened it. I haven't interfered or changed the contents or moved them in any way at all. Have a quick look at this. See if you can see what the problem will be when I explain the killer part of the story, the killer fact. So this is, oops, sorry, zoom trouble. So this is the box. It's got, you know, the polystyrene sort of what sits at one end, and then in the middle it's got these, I'll turn it sideways, it might make it easier. No, it won't. Okay. But it's got these bits of cardboard, can you see, that are sort of in the middle because it's not braced in the centre. But instead of actually shaping it or cutting it so it's the right, to fill the gap there, can you see there's a gap on the right? They should have put, no, they've sort of bridged it across, so at the top, at the far end and at this end, you've got the same problem again, really. You've got the same problem again, where you've got, it's not a flat surface. Now this wouldn't be the end, you know, this isn't, you're probably thinking, okay, that's not very good, is it? But it's not the be-all end-all, it's not going to do any real damage. It will do if you put it in upside down. The kit was in upside down, so that pressure, and then they put it in quite tightly, so there's pressure on the box, and it's put this depression there. It's alright at this end, but this end is quite a bad, it's not the end of the world, this, but this is a £135 kit. It's not been handled with respect at all. I'm quite annoyed for Neil, I was cross, and it really has annoyed me. So this is Hannants, you know better than this. So I don't know if anybody at Hannants wants to take responsibility. I hope somebody watches this. You've got it all bulged out here, it's all dished out because it's been forced down on this cardboard. And there was no reason, even before I saw the damage, I thought, what have they put this in upside down for? That's weird. I thought it would have a flat bottom and it wouldn't have any impact. Oh no, they've not done the job properly. They haven't lined the bottom of the box properly. It would have survived okay, I think, with some mild damage underneath, which wouldn't matter. But no, they put it in upside down, so the damage is on the face of the box. Now, again, imagine if that was Neil's wife or my wife buying it as a gift for somebody. You don't want the product to arrive in that condition. It would have taken no more than 10 to 15 seconds to do that properly, extra on top of what they did. Very annoying. Sorry, Hannants. Another fail. So that's 2 supplies I've named now. And I'll name a third one, because another one I've had problems with recently. One of you sent me a kit and I've had my own bad experiences, and that's with Jadlam. So there's 3. Jadlam virtually wrap a bit of cardboard around it and stick it in a bag. It's not good enough. When you've got kits of this value, big chunky kit, you've only got to see the way the postman or the parcel force guy treats these kits. It isn't good enough. I'm sorry. This is what happens though, and here's a warning to the viewers really. This is what happens when you chase the lowest price. I'm not suggesting Neil's done that, by the way. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. But Jadlam, it's certainly the case, because they're very, very competitive on price. There's a reason for that. Yeah? They're just not packing things properly. I had my Corsair with a big dint in it. 32nd scale Tamiya Corsair came, bit of cardboard wrapped around it and shoved in a plastic bag. No protection at the end at all. That's not good enough. I've got to be honest, I'm not being paid, this is not a promotion or anything like that, but I use people like, I go to Tiger Hobbies, they pack their stuff, they're an importer as well, they're very professional. Gary at Tiger Hobbies. I did have an issue once with him and he took one look at it and said, I know he's done that. And it happened once, and all the others have been just amazingly well packed. And the other one is Jumbly's, another sort of model store I use is Jumbly's, and they probably have the most professional OCD packaging you'd ever see. Better put a quarter of an hour aside before you actually get to your model, you know. But I don't care about that. I want it to arrive in mint condition, especially when it's expensive. And I bought a couple of pricey ones from them, and they've been great. So, Tiger Hobbies, Jumbly's models, those guys are very, very good. But I'm sorry, but these 3 I've named, I think they all need to up their game. And if anybody want to talk to me about it when I'm at Telford, it's fine. I don't care. I just don't think that that's acceptable, especially when you're paying carriage. I think the Hannants one, there was a carriage charge, so I'm sorry, but the packaging, this wasn't the courier's fault though, this was the way it was put in the box. What on earth they put it in like that upside down for, I don't know. Anyway, I've had a bit of a rant there and I've had to go at 3 suppliers, and I'm sorry, but it's fully justified. I am sure that my experience I've seen already, because one of these kits, several of these kits I should say, have not been purchased by me but by somebody else, and here we go again, it's the same thing. It's just carelessness. It's just a lack of care. I don't know who they've got packing these things, but they don't appreciate it. They just think it's a box, just stick it in. However, final word on that subject before I get into the meat of the actual review. My good friend Steve from Steve's Vintage Model Builds in Canada, over near Vancouver there, he gets even worse. He buys kits from Amazon occasionally. When they're bargains, he's been bargain hunting, and he's had a couple, including a Phantom. And Amazon just stick a delivery label on the kit box and send it out, and it arrived crushed. He's had several like this. Crushed, like one looked like it had been sat on by an elephant, another one looked like it had fallen down a flight of stairs in, you know, the Empire State Building or something. It's just ridiculous. Just smashed to bits. No respect for the product at all. Now, I'm sorry. We live in a world where there's a lot of internet purchases and deliveries. I'm sorry, but for me there's a standard that these suppliers must attain, and some of you who should know better in the UK are not attaining the standard. Not good enough, and should really apologise. I think Neil deserves an apology for that, and I deserve an apology for the problems I had with, Wonderland models, and all it's done is made me say this publicly. A true statement of my experience, and it wasn't a good one. So I'm sorry. Wonderland, Hannants and Jadlam all need to improve. Anyway, I've said my piece, and that's it. There we go. Now then, Desert Storm GR1. Let's get into this. Now, it's a big meaty box, apart from all the denting that's been caused by the bad packaging I mentioned. We've got on the side, by the way, it's kit number 2521. It's a really heavy one, so I think this is going to be quite good fun. Neil says he's going to build it as well, so I'm looking forward. He's a great builder, so looking forward to seeing that, to be honest. Look at the decal set we've got here. We'll go into details obviously later. We've got sharks' mouths, and we've got some naughty nose art and all sorts. We've got masks, masking sheets. That's good. I don't think we had that last time. And we've got photo-etch fret, all sorts of goodies. Cartograph decals, of course, in Italy. Then on the other side, on the other side, I'll just get some more brightness here. Here we go. Brighten it up a bit. So we've got Desert Storm. We've got the one that's on the cover. We've got MiG Eater. It is MiG, yeah, MiG Eater from 20 Squadron. That's the next Larbruck Squadron in Germany. Operation Granby, January 1991. Or Foxy Killer 16 Squadron. Very famous. I've actually got a print of that somewhere in the house. which was based at Tabuk in Saudi Arabia in Jan 91. In fact, they're all based at Tabuk, I think. Oh no, one's based at Muharraq. Then we've got over here, sorry, struggling to get to the camera. We've got Nikki, Naughty Nikki, 20 Squadron, again Tabuk, and then finally Trifid Airways at Muharraq in Bahrain. So you've got 4. It doesn't say which squadron that is, but I can tell you that Trifid is in fact 15 Squadron. Now there were, I just want to say this, I was a bit disappointed there wasn't anything from either 617 Squadron or 13 Squadron. Now I know 13 Squadron because I used to live at Hollington, and when this was all going on, I was dating a girl from my old town at Hollington. Anyway, that's long. Moving on, but 13 Squadron did do some amazing work, and I've got a couple of prints I'm going to show you a picture of. So it's not the greatest photograph, this, because of the light, and it's a print that's done in the dark, so it's going to be a little bit awkward, this, but I'll show you anyway. It's a signed print by all the people. This is 13 Squadron, who were doing reconnaissance, in fact, for targeting on the Euphrates River, and the title of the actual print is Alone and Unarmed, 13 Squadron Gulf War. Say that, doesn't it? Yeah, 13 Squadron Gulf War 1991. I'll zoom in so you know I'm not fibbing. There it is. It's a tornado over the Euphrates with anti-aircraft and flares going off, and it's signed by the wing commander, who was actually Glenn Torpey at the time. Now Glenn Torpey went on to become Air Vice Marshal of the Royal Air Force, so clearly he was a top man. And then of course we've got here, which one is this? Is this Helen or Sally T? Scud Hunters, Sally T. And this is another one from 13 Squadron. I'm right, aren't I? Yeah, because it's got their logo. We've got 2 Squadron. Is that 2 Squadron? No, 11 Squadron. 11 Squadron. Sorry, the Scud Hunters. Here we are. Scud Hunters, and it's 13 Squadron again. And this is what they were doing. They were actually doing the reconnaissance to find the Scud missiles that were attacking, potentially attacking the Allied forces, of course, during Desert Storm, and also striking overnight. They were often striking at Israel as well with the Scud missiles, trying to widen the conflict and make it a Middle East war. Really didn't work. So the Scuds are fairly slow, and they didn't get all of them, but they did quite a few were taken out. Anyway, there we go, a bit of background. So finally, where are we now? It's about 15 minutes in, isn't it? People complain sometimes and say, "Oh, 20 minutes, you haven't started yet." Well, all the channels are available. I try to make it interesting as best I can. Now then, let's get into this. I'm going to give this full enthusiasm. I'm not going to be affected by my previous issues with the kit I had before. We'll treat it as a new kit and see what we find. It says on the side, the Tornado project was developed and born out of a collaboration between Italy, Germany and the United Kingdom to develop a high-performance multi-role aircraft. The result was a twin-engine, turbo Union engine, very powerful. After-burning twin-engine, 2-seat aircraft with variable geometry wings specifically designed for low-level altitude supersonic strike missions and capable of following the terrain profile. The Tornado IDS Interdictor Strike, optimised for attack missions, was the first variant to enter service with the operational flying units of 3 countries. So they call it IDS, we call it GR.1. Specifically, the aircraft delivered to the British Royal Air Force were designated as the GR.1, there you go, and were actively employed carrying out a high number of missions in the 1991 Gulf War. Right, let's get into it then. We've got a great big sticker on this to cut open. So I don't know how they've sealed the bags or anything, so we'll have to take it as we find it, I guess. Ooh, careful now. This is Neil's pride and joy. Not that the Supplier seem to care about that very much. That really annoys me, you know. Really annoys me. I say it's not uncommon. It's got to stop. My advice to anybody who's not happy when they get something like that and they've got a bashed box, especially if it's a gift for somebody, as I say, just send it back. Don't have any trouble with it at all. It's a good job that we have, so bear in mind that if there are any problems, Hobbyco is the place to go for Italeri, for ICM, Tamiya, Meng, I think there's quite a few names. Right, here we go. This is gonna be a big review because it's a big old kit. This, lots and lots of plastic, huge box. Don't know where to start, and they are sealed. The sealed bags, so I'll have to put them out. Italeri are a bit mean with the bags as well, so resealing them might be a challenge. Sorry about that. That's their usual thing, I'm afraid. Oh, some mask set. It's just loose. Oh, but another one. It's a bit weird, just having them loose. Is it a bag or something? Right. Okay, so put that over here. Just bear with me 1 second. Try to make some sense out of it all. I think it's best if I remove them for the time being, actually. Gently put them out there. I don't like it though when, people treat products as if they're just a box of tissues. Another box of tissues. It's a very expensive item, it's very delicate. We don't want to be throwing them around or crushing the box like that. I just think it's not acceptable. It just shows a mentality of somebody that doesn't really care about what they're doing. I think I'm not doing very well myself here. Do I care about what I'm doing? Here I am complaining. Get a right mess of this. Just bear with me a moment, folks. I've got a couple of other kits. Balancing is the problem. I need to stop doing that. I have to move them slightly. Ow! They've gone on the floor, but don't worry, it's not Neil's kit, the other ones. They're only small. Right, I'll sit that back. Sorry about that. Didn't do that very well, wasn't very well prepared. Right, okay. Oh, they've done a separate painting, decals and masking guide, so that's a good start. Okay, that's nice. Let's look at that first, actually, just out of interest. It will set the tone, won't it? Nice artwork, shows the burning oil fields in northern Kuwait, of course. The Iraqis set them on fire. Scorched earth policy. And it shows here decal placement. This is for your stencils, basically. Desert pink sand, polished aluminium, flat black, MF steel and MF gunmetal. Does it say whose paints they're recommending? Italeri acrylic paint. Well, that's not very helpful, to be honest. I had a very nice, I'm trying to think whose it was, the desert pink. I think it was recommended by the team at Flory. I think it was Matt Ball. I'm trying to think, is it MFP? MF, maybe it is MFP. Anyway, they do probably the best desert pink, I can tell you that for sure. So yeah, you've got your stencils going on here. Just the little stencils, and then we get into the proper markings. So we've got Mig Eater being the first one, the one that's on the cover of the box. Based at Tabuk, and you've got your shark's teeth, shark's mouth, and then you've got Foxy Killer, 16 Squadron. Foxy Killer's quite a bit risque. Very attractive lady on the nose. So looks like a French maid, to be honest. Then we've got Nora Batty Nikki. Another very risque bit of artwork here. Blimey. Wait till we get into the decals to get into that. And it's got an unusual numbering. It's got 267 underneath the wing. That's interesting. And then we've got the Triffid Airways, which is the one I mentioned, which was 15 Squadron. These are mostly from Larbrook, these guys. And then we have got all the instrument panels, co-pilot and the pilot, all your pylons with all the various stencil decals on, your underview stores, you've got the BOS pod, it's a countermeasures pod, isn't it, a BOS pod. You've got your Sidewinder, air-to-air Sidewinder, AIM-9L, which we know from the Falklands War, very effective indeed. Sky Shadow, which is another, Sky Shadow is a targeting pod, I think, isn't it? Targeting the countermeasures, if I remember correctly. And then Paveway, £1,000 Paveway, which is a laser guided bomb. The fins pop out, and then you got your big fuel tanks. And then there's a guide at the end for your masks, recommending liquid mask for the centre sections, which I don't really like doing, I've got to be honest. I tend to just ignore that and fill in any gaps with my own masking tape. I don't like mixing the two mediums, to be honest. And then a guide to all the markings at the end. So that's pretty clear, I quite like that. That's a good start, Italeri. So let's pop that back at the bottom of the box. Then we will have a quick look, just for safety's reasons. I'm going to get these, I want to get the decals out of the way. I don't want them to get damaged, so we'll do them first. And I think they're going to be, yeah, quite revealing. As Roger Moore would say, quite revealing. We've got our shark's mouth, and we've got our MIG-eating shark here. There's the MIG-eater. There he is. Which is a pretty cool scheme, isn't it? It's nice artwork, that one. And then we've got Foxy Killer. The lady, it's a sort of French maid style. Not overly clothed. We've got Snoopy Airway. Where are we? I've lost my way here. Snoopy Airways. Snoopy riding a bomb. There it is. Snoopy Airways. And we've got the eyes for the, and this is the Triffid. I think the MIG-eater has the eyes as well. Yeah, the MIG-eater has the eyes. Here. And then we've got Nikki, Nora Batty Nikki, which is a bit, yeah, that's a bit risque, chaps. All good, clean fun though, at the end of the day, you know, let's not get too woke about it. And then we've got all the other stuff, so you've got all your paveway and your sky shadow pods with their many sort of warning, radiation, so radio waves emitter can do you some damage. The radar scanner that's in it is going off next to the personnel or at the airfield. Plenty of warnings there. Excuse me. And then over here we've got our low vis markings and all the ejector seat warnings. We've got MIG-eater, which obviously did down a MiG, which is why it's called MIG-eater. If you can see that, it's not that obvious, but it's got all the bomb runs it's been on, and there's a MiG down to MiG kill. So no messing about at all. They've really been in action, these guys. A very nice set from Cartograph. Yeah, lovely. I'm sure those will go down a treat. So you've got the sort of very low vis version of the shark's mouth, or the really loud, brutal one, which is MIG-eater. I think Foxy Killer has the lower res one. And then there's this slightly smaller one, isn't there, for Triffid Airways. You've got your tank stencils here. Really nice. No problems here. So far it's going well. Don't let me down, Italeri. Please, just for once, don't let me down. It would be really nice to have an Italeri review that is a positive review. And I've not really had that before. I've always had a bit of grimness in them, or proviso. A bit creased, actually. That's a bit creased. That's a bit of a shame, isn't it? So it's got crease. Again, they've rammed it on the box. Why didn't they put it in a bag like all the others do? They normally put this in a bag, Tamiya, or, you know, a lot of the big manufacturers do that now. It's got a bit creased. See here? Just seems to be a theme with this. I mean, it is a bit of a floppy book. It's not got a very thick cover, which isn't helping its sort of rigidity. Over here, by the way, is that more than one? More than one fret? Or is that just one? So I'm trying to understand what I'm looking at here. We've got some screws. And then we seem to have just a thick piece of cardboard. So this is just, I can do this without opening this bag, there's no need really. So this is the bag of all the Photo-etch. So you've got the back of the pod, where they have like a vent at the rear. And you've got you've got seat belts. All the seat belts are here, and we've got some of the bracing framework around where the engines go. We have got ejector pulls, I think they are, and yeah, again around the engines at the back. I think it's where they've got the. I don't know if you can, I can't remember. I think you can have them open or shut, the reverse thrusters. But it's a nice fret. It's quite thick. It's very bit like a Tamiya fret. It feels very thick. Photo Mechanica, your first choice. It says at the bottom. But yeah, there we go. So that's that. Those two are going to get put very carefully back. So I don't really feel that they've protected things well enough. It feels like a theme of this kit. That it's not enough protection. Right, I'm going to zoom you back a bit. This is big, so I'll flash through it because we have seen the aircraft before. Oh, we've got an amendment for your paveway £1,000 guided bombs. It looks like it's the Photo-etch. It's telling you to use the Photo-etch parts, I think, here. It's not terribly clear. Yeah, anyway, amendment sheet. And yeah, there is actually a slight tear there, isn't there, in this? I didn't help it. But there's a slight tear with that creasing here, so this has been flying around in the box, hasn't it? No wonder when they put it upside down. Anyway, let's get on with it. So you've got your sprue maps. This is a really floppy instruction guide. It's not the best in terms of the quality of it. Yeah, there's a lot of sprues, clearly. A lot of sprues. So there's quite a lot that you don't use, actually, in this variant, interestingly. Quite a lot of the weapons are not used, it seems to show. So this is really hard to hold, you have to bear with me. So we've got our some Photo-etch there going on. Looks like it's armour plating on the back of the seat, building up your seat and head box, ejector seat. Is it Martin Baker Mark 9, is it, in these? I think it's a Mark 9, if I'm not mistaken. And you've got all this bending of Photo-etch to do with the seat belts, which is great. I mean, it's all included, you know. Then you're going to build up your cockpit, putting in various decals for the instrument panels, and then you've got. It seems to be telling you to actually. You see, this frustrates me a little bit. PE, is that PE for the instruments? I thought that was. Yeah, it is. It's some PE on the instruments. It's telling you to remove with the scalpel the plastic and put PE on. Well, I'm not sure if I'd be doing that, to be honest, especially when there's decals for the instruments. I think that you have to take a view and decide which way you want to go. Anyway, then you've got the control sticks. You've got the main mounting for the rear instrumentation for the navigator and weapons officer, and you've got your main pilot's instrumentation there. You've got down here. You've got your rudder pedals. Then you're going to build up the nose gear bay, which goes underneath at the front. Big meaty, huge meaty nose leg on the Tornado, of course. Really, it had a very strong undercarriage. I think they learned the lessons of the TSR2, which had a very flimsy undercarriage, especially the rear main gear legs. On this aircraft, it had really chunky, and it was very, very effective for that reason. Landing on some fairly iffy, questionable quality landing airfields, runways. So you can have a gear down or your gear up. So you've got two configurations there. And here we go, putting on the wheels and tyres, which are made of plastic, I think. Yes, I'm sure they are. Made of plastic. It looks like I think they've got weight on wheels. I think that, or have they? We'll see. And there's the alternative. Why is there an alternative? Why are there two versions? So this is why I grumbled last time. It's the same old problem. It's like one of these Chinese kits. Can we not have some English? Why not? Why not? It's the most spoken language on the planet apart from Chinese, and these guys are Italian, so there's no excuse for that being an excuse. Anyway, then you're bringing in your two nose side cockpit sides together to form the forward fuselage around both the cockpit that you've already assembled and the nose gear. You've got a bit more instrumentation that you've got to work on here on both sides of that section in front of the instruments at the front and the coving. You've got 60 grams of weight, at least they tell you, that's good. 60 grams of weight. Then you've got your nose radome with a radar dish in it. Pop that in there. And then, which is nice, and then you've got, yeah, you've got another bit, several bits of the instrumentation, the top of the computer screens, which is PE. So yeah, that's some of that PE we were just looking at. I wasn't quite sure what it was. I thought it was engine related, but it's not. It's at the top left there. Then we have got those all going in, so there's all the instrumentation and various different screens. There's targeting information, navigation information that goes in there for the backseater to use for the weapons delivery. And then you actually got the seats themselves coming in here and your forward canopy windscreen going on. That's a bit early for my liking. I would be maybe just hanging back and doing that later, to be honest. Underneath we've got the it's a Mauser cannon on this aircraft, isn't it? I think it has a Mauser rotating electric cannon. I think one on both sides, if memory serves me. Yes, it does. So it's got twin Mauser cannons, quite well armed in terms of gun. And if you have the open landing configuration, you build up your main gear bays here, and you're going to build up those complete with the actuator arms for the main gear. Which sort of tucks in at the side. It's quite an unusual setup on the Tornado. Very neat. Well, good design aircraft, actually. I was disappointed about it when TR2 was lost, but when they did bring this out, I thought it was impressive, you know. And then you're going to have here, you're going to build up your swing wings, mountings, and the positioning for the glove vane of where the wing, where the rubber vane is, where the wing slides in, and it seals behind it for an aerodynamic seal for when the wings is swung forwards. And I think, if my memory serves me, I think there may be two options. Does it explain that or not? And then we've got another guessing game. Because I'm pretty sure you can have it forward or back. That will become clearer. Then over here we've got the main engine trunking going in, and the main engine, the sort of the bulkhead that holds the engine trunking together, dropping into the lower fuselage. And you've got your all moving tailplanes coming in here, complete with their pivots. And then you're going to have the retracted thrust reverser configuration on your turbo union engines after burning engines. So retracted thrust reversers, so in other words in flight, is this option. And then extended is the word they're looking for. That's not a good choice in English. Extended thrust reverser configuration. Some Italian has got slightly wrong end of the dictionary there. So when they're open, and I think it would look very good on this model to have them open, I've got to say. Then you've got your twin turbo union engines going in here, 2-engine configuration. And later I think you can have an engine out if you wish. Complete with, there's like a heat baffle plate that goes inside to separate the two engines and reduce the heat shielding. And you've got control modules here that control the thrust reversers. Looks cool, looks very cool. And indeed, this is in case you want the one engine conversion, where you have one engine out on a trolley. We'll come to that later. In this case, you only put in the left engine. And then retracted thrust reverser configuration, again with the thrust buckets as we call them, the thrust reverser baffles, if you will. And you've got some PE here that you need to bend. There's quite a lot of PE that needs to be worked on. And again, retracted on the other side, same process again on the opposite side. And extracted or extended, I'll say it again, it should say extended, thrust reverser configuration. Extracted sounds like a tooth, doesn't it? Removed. That's not the right word, it isn't. But look at the effect. You've got your, you've got enough zoom here, a bit more zoom I think. Look at the effect here with the buckets closed, blasting the thrust. So they land on minimal throttle and then they immediately rev up to full throttle to give them thrust back forwards to have the opposite effect and stop the plane real quick. Very, very impressive when you see it in action. Go and look on YouTube, there's plenty of videos of that. And then you've got this option of having your engine dolly, which you can actually put the other engine on. It's a shame they didn't offer you that, an additional engine really, so you can have both engines in and this at the side. I suppose you can't have everything. Anyway, and they're also offering you with the thrust reversers closed or open. Then we get into the wings. So it starts getting complicated. So you've got the wings with their flaps and slats. There's quite a lot going on in a Tornado's wing. I remember I had was it Flight Path that used to do a set of these? Because the Revell one does not come with this option, and this is one of the key areas it's superior here, apart from the general quality. But you've got extended slats, and they've got these sort of operating. The slats have got these operating rods that are like run like a cam action, almost like a drill action, as they work in and out on like a screw jack. That's the word I'm looking for. Screw jack action. And again, very impressive when you see it in action. Looks absolutely amazing. So you got flaps in or flaps out, and then over on the other wing you're going to do the same thing. You've got your spoilers, the ones on the top of the wing there. Here, these are wing spoilers obviously, so slowing down on the runway, air brakes in effect. And then you've got the action of the I'm just trying to figure out, do they actually move? They do, don't they? We've actually got a pivoting arm which seems to operate. Does it operate them? Trying to understand whether the slats come out as well, or whether that arm is just for operating the actual wing. Again, not very well communicated. I know I moan about this all the time, but for good reason, you know. Why can't they explain extended slats? But there's clearly here, just to put my thumb, this is clearly an operating arm that literally does pivot. So what's that doing? It's nothing to do with the actual main wing itself. It must be for operating the slats. They must actually go in and out, but it just doesn't say that. So you'll have to sort of trying to figure it out all the time. I hate that. Just explain what it is you're trying to say before you start making us build something that may be superfluous, if you don't want the slats out anyway. It doesn't really make it clear. So it says extended slats. I mean, by the way, proving my point, I was right about language. They're now calling it extended slats, but they call the thrust reversers extracted. So you can see they've got confused with the English, even within their own same document. Anyway, sorry, I'm just zooming you back. I'm having a bit of a rant, aren't I? See what I mean though? I said it should say extended. And there's the proof. They've used it for the extended slats and extended flaps. And they're calling it extracted, which is the wrong word completely, for the thrust reversers. I don't know. Anyway, I think what it's basically trying to say is that these slats, they must move. You know, you can move them in and out, so they will actually have some motion, some animation. It's just that, you know, it's not thinking through the instructions. They're not communicating what they're trying to tell you to do and what they're trying to offer. It's just the easy part, doing it badly. That's what it is. Anyway, I think I've over-zoomed you a bit there, sorry. Come back a bit. Right, so that's flaps and slats. Sorry, I didn't quite get to the flaps, did I? So there's the flaps at the end, here on the right. At the back of the wing, trailing edge. This looks cool. I think it looks brilliant, actually. It's got real potential to be a super kit, there. Closed air brake configuration. Now they're using even different words. Now they're saying closed and open. Just can't make their minds up which English to use. That's very weird. Instead of saying extended or retracted again, which is the right language. Anyway, I mean closed is right as well, but you can see what I mean. It's just a lack of consistency. It's using a different word for open and closed every time for bizarre, unfathomable reasons. Anyway, so you go them closed here, or this version you have them open. Again, it looks brilliant when they're open, really very dynamic, you know. And then here, this is where the two screws are that we saw a little bit earlier in that bag, and this is where they actually lock the wings in, which is good because it gives it some durability. So you've got operating swing wings, and then over here you're going to bring your nose section in and make sure, explaining how it all fits together and how it all clips in. Looks fairly clear, fairly. And then we've got, remove this piece, doesn't tell us why, but obviously it's a different variant or something. It's probably for a GR4, that's why. And then you've got your rudder, your tail rudder going on the big fin as we call it on the Tornado. It's got a huge fin, hasn't it, relative to the aeroplane. It's a third of the aircraft, the fin is. Huge thing. And then you've got all these little aero vortex generators that you get on the tail of the Tornado, like little strakes, and you're on both sides. And this looks very fiddly because they're in PE, so be wary. I think this is going to be challenging. You need to have your best big glasses on and have your finest tweezers for this job. And then finally you're bringing your tail down, big thing comes on. And then you've got your dorsal spine behind the cockpit, which is to avoid having any horrible seam marks, of course, join lines, which is good. So I like that. You've got your low frequency and high frequency aerial transmitters, I believe. A little bit of trim where the air conditioning vent is behind the cockpit itself. And then we get into the bit that's probably going to cause the most danger, and that is the air intakes, because they're always difficult on Tornadoes and Eurofighters and a lot of jets, in fact. So be wary. So you've got like a top plate, and then you've got the bottom ramp, of course, which moves on these aircraft. Right in saying that, aren't they? I think I am. Obviously, like on an F-15. And then cut only for the closed version. So you've got a blower flap at the side. There's actually two vents on the side on the Tornado. So maybe I'm wrong, aren't I? I just realised it's not like the F-15. I think it's fixed, but it has these blower vent doors on the side instead. I'd forgotten. It's been a while since I did a Tornado. I quite like this kit actually. I think if they're just a bit clearer with the instructions, I'd be a lot happier. But yeah, I think fundamentally it's fairly sound. And then you've got your sort of shrouds where the wing rotates, the sort of vane, if you like. Whoops, starting to struggle with this. Not to damage these instructions any more than they were when they arrived. Right, then you've got your main gear coming in. I'll be looking at that with interest to see what it's, because it's got some writing on them. I also want to see if it's got weight on wheels, which I think it should have at this price. And then we've got the same gear going in on the other side, big chunky gear leg on the Tornado. Then you've got your gear doors coming in. They're all going to be fitted in here. You've got the little lights, like headlights that pop out on the gear doors. They're very bright, I've got to say, I've seen them, they're really very effective, like a halogen lamp now. And then you've got your FLIR pod, I think it is under the nose here, targeting, infrared targeting, laser guidance. And then of course they have an arrestor hook at the back as well for emergencies. Not for landing on carriers, but it is for emergencies. If you have a brake or thruster problem, reverse thruster. Then we've got our laser guided bomb Mark 13, which is the £1,000 bomb. And then over here we've got the two, the pylons that sits on the central sort of ventral area underneath. And then we've got our, again it's not describing them, it's just suddenly stops describing them. So it just described them in detail, now it's just dropped doing that, so it said LGB, now it says nothing. This is why I get cross, it's just stupid, there's no consistency. It's like this was designed by about 14 different Italians, this instruction book. 14 different Italians with different versions of what open and closed means. Anyway, you've got your pod, BOS pod, wasn't it? And then you've got your sidewinder 9L, and you've got your you've got your pylon for it there. BOS pod looks quite good actually. And again, no words, nothing telling you what they are. Just stop mentioning any of this now. Just stop mentioning it, so we're none the wiser. Anyway, it shows the mounting because it has this side-mounted sidewinder on the main pylon mount. It has a secondary sidewinder mount. Not sure about the wisdom of mixing sidewinders and fuel tanks together so closely, but it is common practice. I don't like the idea of that somehow. If that ever leaked, there'd be a big kaboom, I tell you, if that pod leaked. And they set a sidewinder off, oh boy. It'd be like 5th of November on steroids. But anyway, I'm sure they were reliable, otherwise they wouldn't have continued with the design. Just saying, that's all. Anyway, then you've got your various options of how you put them on. Then you've got your refueling probe antenna. Again, no description. Oh, it says it now. So it decides to say it later down the page. Why doesn't it say that at the top? Stupid. Again, having it out. Excuse me. If you beg my pardon, if you'd like to get it out, sir. It looks quite impressive when it's out for all to see, if you know what I mean. And then you've got the option of having it retracted, obviously, and then we've got a couple of little, we've got pitos and we've got air sensors going on the side of the nose here. Then we've got to build up our canopy, because it has a canopy frame that the clear part sits on. We've got our cover, and you've got the option of having it open, the radome nose cone, open or closed. I like that. Some of the things I liked on this kit, which I don't think you had the option of on the Revell kit, even though they provided it, which was a bit... Is that right? I can't remember now. I have a feeling it wasn't openable, but they did have a radome, which seemed a bit weird. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while, but anyway. Open cockpit option. So you close it over here, or you can have the open version here. Again, looks great with open. A lovely crew ladder is provided, so you don't need to get the flight path one. Sadly, I don't think flight path are in business anymore, are they? And then we have the finished Tornado, either closed up or everything open, which looks amazing, I've got to say. I think closing it up would be a waste. Okay, so yes, all fairly logical apart from putting on that windscreen too soon. I'd do that right at the end if I were you. And the fact that they are, can't understand what the difference in open and close, or how to say it. And then they tell you about the laser guided bombs, but they don't tell you about any other stores. Very strange. Seen that before. Italeri, you know, get your act together. We're not asking much. This is simple stuff. It's very easy to get that right. You got most of it right. You just, so they can't be bothered, or there's several people involved. Anyway, we're not going to dwell on that. We are going to get the plastic out now. Got the masking sheet. Again, these should have been in a bag. Everything's loose, and that's why it's getting damaged, you know. I'm very confident that that instruction leaflet wouldn't have a crease and a rip in it if it was in a bag. So, here we go again. There's not really much to see here. There's no point in zooming you in because the camera won't have the ability to pick up the masks individually, but there is a mask set, so that's very good, so I appreciate that. Just put it in a bag though, really. Everything's just wandering about. I might even look, for Neil's benefit, I might even find myself, I've got some IKEA bags, new ones. I think I'll put that in a bag. I'd be a lot happier with that safely in a bag. Let's have a look at the plastic then. Enough of my moaning. Now, I've got my trusty ruler here. I had a feeling I was going to need it, and indeed we do. So we've got to slice open the bags. They don't give us much to go on, so resealing them may or may not be possible. Let's see what I can do. Anybody who likes a Cold War jet, especially Gulf War and RAF stuff, and then I think this is the kit for you. I think you're going to like this. So I think we have here, oh, they're rubber tyres. Oh, they're rubber ties. Right, bear with me. I'm just going to swap to my big glasses. I need them for this. He says, and then he breaks the glasses. It doesn't say what brand they are. Is it? No, it just says radial. So there's no branding on the tie, but it has got writing on them. But they're rubber. Now I thought that they were actually plastic. I thought they were in 2 pieces. That seems odd. Anyway, we've got rubber ties for the front and rubber ties for the rear. I don't really like. You've got the, zoom you in, you need to see this yourself. We've got the glove vane, or rather the sealing, sometimes call it the sealing curtain, don't they? For where the wings swing back. Sorry, let me just, I think I'll keep these glasses on, I think it'll make life easier for me actually. And I keep chopping and changing. I think I can't see the screen very well. So I think what you do, I think if you have them in the back position, I think you have to slice them to make room for the wing to go in. Whether that was made clear, I'm not sure it was, but just be aware of that. You can get aftermarket resin. I think I bought some for mine and then I sold it on in the end. I didn't keep the kit, I was a bit just got a bit disgruntled with it really. But there are other versions for the other positions, so you don't have to mess about with this rubber. Not sure whether that was a good idea or not, but let's have a look at the proper plastic. So I'm going to zoom you right back for this. This is a huge sprue, as you can probably see. Italeri plastic has got a slightly strange granular texture to it, which I've always noticed. It's not like something like ICM, which is relatively smooth. I don't mean shiny, but just smooth. But this has got quite a granular feel to it. But I've got to say the moulding looks absolutely lovely. So here we have the underside of the fuselage with all the various vents, etc. I mean, it all looks to be in scale, doesn't it, in fairness? I think that's very well done. That's obviously where your arrestor hook will go. Oh, and here is the arrestor hook. Now, some of you remember when I did a couple of weeks back, I did the Tamiya, that was Neil's kit, the Tamiya Phantom. And I was very unimpressed by the arrestor hook, which looked stupid, actually. It looked like a 72nd scale arrestor hook scaled up to 32nd. Wasn't realistic, but this one is. That one is superb. Look at the shape of it. That looks like a proper hook. It really does. I like that. And then we've got an avionics bay here. I don't know if you can see this. Getting closer. Here there's an avionics bay with some electronics and modules in there, and you've got all the side of your. This is actually the side of the fuselage, and I think that hole, pretty sure that is where the old moving tailplane goes in. Then you've got these enormous main gear doors, which are really big there on the left. Look at the size of those, massive. More avionics, more internal internal walls here. This is in the gear bay, I think. And then you've got your air brakes over here. Again, absolutely huge. And on the other side of them, I think it's worth looking at these. Really nice detail on the other side of the air brake, look. Where the actuator arms are fitted, I think. That's quite nice. It's nice, isn't it? Really good. This is the dorsal spine section here. It goes behind the cockpit on the top. The fuselage. That's all good I'm saying there. Let's have a look at the wings now. Wow, this is another huge sprue. We've got a part off the sprue. It's no wonder with the way it's been thrown around in transit, I suspect, because it wasn't packed properly. But don't worry, Neil, there's no actual damage. It's just separated there. But it's not actually damaged the part, so don't worry. And they look lovely, don't they? They look lovely. Look at that. The panels on the wings, you know. I mean, are they a bit overdone? Are they maybe a little bit overdone? I'm starting to wonder. They do seem quite deep and trenchy. I'm just feeling maybe, it could be my imagination, but they just feel a little bit out of scale. maybe a little bit extremely done, those. Well, it looks okay on the fuselage, but I'm not sure if the wings would be quite that. I'd expect them to be a bit more subtle. If you look very carefully here, there's some very strange markings marring in the plastic. Not on the surface, do not worry, Neil. It's just in the plastic itself. It's like, reminds me of the old plastic on the Mastermind game. Do you remember that? Going back a few years now. They had this rather strange, like a pearlescent sort of look to the plastic. Then you've got your front slats here, which I was mentioning earlier, for the wing slat leading edge. Look at this great big pivot it's got where the teeth are for the two wings to interconnect. Very cool. And then we've got our intakes, complete with the side blowing door. And we have got some hydraulics here that look very nice on the left. I think these are your fittings for where the all moving tailplanes go. And then we've got the gear doors, I think it is, for the front gear, nose gear. And then over on this side, it's kind of more of the same, isn't it, really? Again, just feels a little bit extreme, some of this detail. Is it warped, by the way? I think there's a little bit of warpage here. Also, do you see that? It's just broken off the sprue there again. This is transit, I think. Italeri need to just pack things a little bit better, and they need to not have, you know, instruction books flying around. You saw it was on the top, the instruction book, although which is quite heavy, not helping the parts, is it? When you always put the instruction book on the bottom, and then put flat parts on top of it. That will stop it, especially if it's in a bag, which it wasn't. I'm in a right rant here. I do feel there's a bit of warp. I don't know if it's my imagination. I don't think it is. Can you see this? The top of the wing, this starboard wing, it looks a little bit warped to me. We're talking about this piece here. It's got a little bit of an upward warp to it. I'm a little bit concerned about that. And the actual, yeah, there is a bit of a warp in the actual sprue. It may be fine. It may just glue together and it just vanish. I don't know. But not being attached isn't helping its cause. Anyway, there we go. So that's the first two sprues. I think we've got problems occurring here just by, again, the complicated stuff, the hard part, they're doing really well. And the simple, stupidly simple things like instructions and a bit of basic common sense of putting your big thick instruction book in a bag so it doesn't fly about and get damaged, which is what happened. And damage potentially parts within the kit. I mean, that's just basic common sense, isn't it, really? Just reminds me. Right, just bear with me a tick. Remember, we're seeing this courtesy of somebody else's kindness. We have to treat it with the ultimate respect, which I'm doing a poor job of. Let's try it this way. Let's use a bit more common sense myself. There we go, that's worked a lot nicer. Certainly better that way. Right. At least the bags are not noisy bags, they're very quiet. But maybe if they were a bit better packed in the bags, there wouldn't be this elements of leaving the sprue so much. Okay, so wasn't very impressed with those. They look okay. I'm not, you know, the actual moulding's nice, but they don't age well, do they, rubber? That's the problem. Right, that's the first one. So. Bear with me a second, because I just need to organise myself. Talk amongst yourselves. What's your verdict on that then? Next one we've got laser guided bombs, and this has got quite a generous bag, thank goodness. So I can easily reseal it for Neil. You see, if I don't reseal it, more things are going to fly around, so it needs doing really, one way or another. Sometimes I reseal it with Tamiya tape. Especially if I know that the owner is going to build it soon. Resealing it, doing a lot of time on it is probably a waste of time, but it must be resealed somehow. Now I've got a part off the sprue here, so what is that? That is a sway brace that's fallen off. Let's have a look. Yes, We've got another one off the sprue. A sway brace. Let's just zoom you right in. There we are. Sway brace for the laser guided bomb that mounts it. Obviously stops it moving around when it's mounted on its pylon. That we'll carefully put back in that bag for Neil. Oops, go in there. And then we've just got two that are the same. So I'll show you the one that's got the sway brace still on the sprue. Yes, so laser guided bomb, as I said, and it has some. It has the fins on it here. Nicely moulded, that. Yes, well, I like it. Yeah, no problem here. Isn't it big compared to my hand? It's huge, isn't it? Really, massive weapons. Yeah, and oh, it's got the cap. I didn't realise. So that's the nose safety cap at the front that goes on the nose of it. That's cool. Yeah, I like that. That was excellent. Right, that one again. I'm going to stick that to one side because I'm a little bit worried about that. I don't want to go get lost. So now we've got some truly ginormous sprues, and this is a really difficult one to handle. So again, I'll zoom you back. Please bear with me. I am able to show you these kits like this by the good grace of somebody else. So we can't just go ripping away at the bags and then ramming stuff back in the bags, or we're just not bothering. Having said that, they've done a really terrible job here. This couldn't be any tighter, Italeri. There's no slack in this bag at all. That one won't get resealed, it's impossible. We'll use tape to secure it. We'll have trouble actually cutting it off, cutting it open. It's so tight. Why? Again, inconsistency. Why? Why can't it be consistent? If you look at, ICM or even Tamiya with their staples, they're more consistently, you don't get one that's got loads of spare and then the next one's got none like this. That's really going to be difficult, this is. Very, very careful. It's worked. It becomes fiddly and time consuming, and you're sitting there thinking, well, get on with it. But we can't just slush away on something so nice as this. It's just not going to happen. Not on my watch. Right, there we go, we're in. Again, it's too tight, this bag is, I think. This is like the opposite of Airfix. Airfix comes in a bag that's like a football pitch. This comes in one that's like it's been shrink wrapped around it. God, it's stupid. What have you done it like that for? Come on. This is just absurd. It's actually... Well... I'm not sure I'm going to get this back in this bag. That bag, actually. That's bizarre. Okay, we're in. Finally. And again, we've got a rather strange setup in terms of the sprues. The sprue design choices are rather inconsistent and very strange. So look, you see I've got my hand here because it's such a strange design. You've got a great big Hindenburg tank here. I think they hold, what is it? Is it 3,000 pounds of fuel? I can't remember. But they're quite a big old thing, aren't they? And then you've got these huge rails. And again, is it warped? There's a little bit of hint of warp here. It's like banana-ing because the sprues are too big. I think that's not great. And there's tiny hints of flash here and there on this sprue. I think this is from the original sprue of the version of the kit. The good news is you can clearly see that we've got weight on wheels. So if you go avoid the plastic, avoid the rubber, go for the plastic ones, which is what I would do. And then you've got your Martin Baker, you've got your head box here for your Martin Baker ejector seat. If you look very closely, there's hints of flash here. Can you see it? And I think this is because it's a relatively old tool now. And there's definitely hints of flash around the tyres, the wheels and tyres, for that nose wheel, nose gear. Can you see that? There's flash creeping in here. This is a bit disappointing because it was looking good. Flash here, there's lots of flash. That's a pain. That's annoying. £135 kit, No, I don't expect flash. Over here, afterburner ring. Flash. No, not at this price, I'm sorry. No, that's annoying me. No, I'm getting upset now because I was really looking forward to this being... I don't think we had any flash on the original kit. I think this is just its age of the tool because they've used it a few times. Not terrible. Most of the parts seem to be alright, but it's in awkward places like that afterburner ring is going to take a lot of fiddling with. You know, and here, where you got it on the plumbing and the wiring. The petals at the end of the engine are beautiful. That's nicely moulded, isn't it? This is mould cleanliness. This, not cleaning your moulds often enough. I think. I don't think it's a worn out mould. It's not old enough, is it? It's just bad housekeeping, I suspect. Needs a quick acid bath, just a gentle acid bath to clean it up. I think it's got a bit clagged up is what's happened here. Anyway, you've got your pylons, which look nice in fairness. Yes, they look very good. Here's those arms, these like cantilever sort of operating arms, which I was talking about for the slats, which was a bit confusing because it didn't explain it. And obviously you've got your engine here, which is nicely moulded. They've done that well. So I don't think it's not the tool design. I think it's the tool's housekeeping. You can see here there's flash building up around it. Can you see that? And again on this on the headrest, there's flash. That's just bad tool maintenance. And then there's actually two of these. I've just realised it's two of the same sprue, so they're identical. A little bit disappointed with that. I would expect their housekeeping to be better, really. See if I can get this back in the bag. Do you know what? It's going okay in the end. It's not quite as evil as I expected. Oh, hang on a minute. We've got to the challenging bit now. Spoke too soon. Sorry. Zoom you back. It's because I've got my other glasses on. I can't see the screen, so I didn't realise you weren't able to see what the devil's going on. Anyway, I need to ask you all, have you got your poppy? Have you? I don't want to see any of you coming up to me at telephone without a poppy on. Oh, I'm the poppy police, yeah? Support the Royal British Legion. Yeah, there we go, that's okay. Oh, okay. I'll have to just put some tape on that to see if I can, for safety reasons. Now then. This may not take as long as I fear, actually. Again, super tight bag, which is good for transit, don't get me wrong. That's better than a loose bag. It is, actually. It's just not very good for poor Neil, because normally I would reseal it for him, but I won't be able to do this one either. Even cutting it is almost impossible with the ruler, because I can't get the ruler on it. It's got such little... Oh, yes, can. Just. I've done it. Oh, that was easy. Right, okay. Right then, so this is weapons. I think this is another twin pack, yeah. So this is another double sprue, both the same. Let's zoom you in on these BOSPod. And there are quite a few items on here that won't be used, so ignore the top one. I don't think either side you're going to use there. But here's your BOSPod here. And is it the ANLQ pod? I can't remember now. There's also some Sky Flash? Or A9. Well, you're not going to use those anyway, so those won't be used either. So we're looking at these, and we're looking at the sidewinders. And it's the 9L sidewinder. Is that Sky Flash? That's something else. So it's this one we're interested in. This is your 9L. Yes. Complete with its gyroscope fins at the back. Which looks pretty good, to be honest. There's no flash on this sprue. This one looks alright. This is completely different. Fine. No problems. So, yes, 9L sidewinder. All the little fins are there. And then you've also got another one of the laser guided bombs. It's a lighter weight bomb. Again, this has the pop out fins. Again, you've got your little caps here to protect the nose, the tip. Safety cap. Tells you whether it's not armed. It stops you bumping into it on the airfield as well. So there we go. That's good. No problems there. Better quality, it has to be said, much better. Sounds like some airplanes are going over. Geese. I've got the geese flying over on a daily basis at the moment. They're all migrating, I think. They've said there's too much migration into Britain. We're going to go somewhere else. Oh, careful. Careful, we don't do politics on this show. Right, that's that one. And then we get into the really big chunky stuff now. Look at this. And another tightly packed bag. Cockpit. Fuselage and fin. So this always amuses me. Look. They've got the great big nose. Why would you mould it vertical to the rest of the, the design of the actual sprue, I mean? Why would you put it on the sprue in that way so it's sticking up with a real danger of transit damage? Really stupid. Did Revell do the same thing? I think they did actually. I think the Revell one's the same. It's poking through there. Crazy. Put it inside ways, Well, that would mean slide moulding probably. I don't think they want to pay for that. Or do they? I'm not sure if Italeri have got slide moulding yet at all. Right. Now getting this out is going to be, for that reason, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. I've just got the right technique, haven't you? Okay. So. This looks very nice. It does have this strange pearlescent splatter appearance again in the plastic. Not an issue for the model when you build it though. It won't be visible once you've painted it, but it does look a bit weird. I'll show you what I mean. I wonder if it'll pick up on the camera here. Look at the underside here, just behind where the front gear door is. Can you see it? This sort of weird, like starburst of the plastic, and here as well. So it's here, and it's here. It's got a very strange appearance. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It won't affect your model. We've got this nose, which is it's good though. It's got nice. It's got like a seam line as on the real aircraft. It's got this line down the nose, which you often don't get. I don't think that was on the Revell version. So that's very accurately done, actually. You see that? You see the line down it? It's quite hard to show, actually. There it is. That's nice. Yeah, I mean the side detail. Again, am I being picky here? But I like the appearance of it. It's got a real wow factor, but it just feels a little bit overdone in terms of the gaps of these panels. It's the gapping that I'm concerned about. The actual trench between that divides each panel. It seems a little bit odd to me that. Oh, there's more starbursting here. Can you see that in the plastic? Again, it won't affect you. As soon as you put a primer on this, it'll vanish. But can you see how the plastic has it's got like starburst pearlescent look to it? See that? It's kind of weird, isn't it? In fact, it's affecting quite a lot on this sprue. So it's all over the place. It won't affect the model. It's not a negative. It just looks odd to the eye. You can see it here. Same again. It's like a starburst of like speckles in the plastic. But we have some beautifully moulded parts here, and there's no flash here at all. Quite why there was on that other piece, I still don't understand. But yeah, you've got all the look at this. You've got your reverse thruster mechanisms here. Aren't they amazing? And then you've got it open. So this is the open mechanism, and this is it if you have it closed. That's beautifully moulded, really detailed. There's the actuator arms for the reverse thrusters on the engines. Then you've got your like Doppler radar. I think this is the targeting radar for the back seater. Or is that the pilot? I can't remember. Might be the pilot. No, it is. I'm right. It is the back seater because the pilot's is over here, and this is the back seater fits in the middle there. We've got our Mauser cannon. Oh, hang on a minute. That seems to be giving the impression there's a Mauser cannon on one side only. Is it only on the left? think it might be only on the left. It only shows an opening for the muzzle on one side, doesn't it there, interestingly. And over here you've got your refueling probe, the shroud here and the probe itself here, which looks really cool. No, is that the probe? Is that not the probe? No, hang on a minute, I think I'm wrong. That's got me wondering now. Where's the end? That can't be right. Yeah, I think it is. Must be. It pivots as well. Does it pivot? Looks like it might actually come out, pivot. But it must have a tip on it that's somewhere else, which I can't see. But it's nicely done. Very nice moulding. We talked about the instrumentation there, which is really nicely moulded. And your radome, your actual radar array, which pivots as well. As you can probably see, it's got a pivot in the middle where my thumb is. That's really cool. More radar screen here, instrumentation. And then you've got, I think that's the pitot, which isn't, sorry, there, which isn't great. That looks, I'd replace that and get a master model, get a metal one. That would be my tip to Neil on this. Well, then you've got your, this is the sort of support for the engines, when the engines come out of the fuselage at the back. It's a nice sprue that, actually, especially when you look at the instrumentation detail of all the switches in the cockpit. Still looks weird with that starburst effect of plastic, but anyway, the actual moulding's great. Fantastic. Yeah, great sprue. Okay, then a real biggie. Look at this monster. Look at the fin. I'm going to have to zoom you back. It's that big. It's huge. Look at it. The camera zoomed in too much and it's only half zoom. Look at that. And look at the all moving tailplanes as well. But that fin is just absolutely enormous, isn't it? And you've got your crew ladder here. A little bit of flash there. A little tiny bit of flash just in one spot, I think. Yeah, we'll ignore that. It's just a one-off, I think. And then you've got these slats and flaps that I talked about. And you can actually see, I'm going to zoom in a bit more for this, you can see the screw jacks I was talking about that operate them. Like on a cam. See that? Here and here. That's incredible. That looks so realistic. That's really cool. Yeah, I like that. And you've got your spoilers. It's all there, isn't it? It's all there. And there's your all moving tailplanes, which are, again, enormous on the Tornado, aren't they? It's got a lot of aerodynamic control, you know. Big control surfaces indeed. Spin it round. Have a look again on this side. Look at those, the screw jacks that operate the spoilers and the flaps. You got your main gear for the nose here, nose gear. And then another bit of star bursting in the plastic, but I say it's just peculiar to look at, but it won't affect your model. It's smooth. That will not appear once you put paint down on it, no problem. Primer will just make that vanish. Nice sprue actually, in fairness. That's really nice. I like that. Yeah, and this is where, these are the location points here for those little vortex generators that go on the tail. So that's that one, and an absolutely enormous chunky old sprue that was indeed. Did we look at that one? We did, didn't we? I do like on, I'm just going to show you this again. I do like on this where you see the control operating arms. This is again, got lost, where are we? There. Look very carefully, you can actually see the gears on the actual, this is for the reverse thrusters, operating arms for the pedals. Look at those gears, you see the teeth, that's really cool, isn't it? I mean, it's got a lot of potential, this kit. I'm a little bit baffled why someone's got flash on though. I don't expect that for £135, I just don't. You can do that at 30-40 quid, but once you get above £100, no flash. No, that's not acceptable, I'm sorry. That's my view anyway. Right, now how will I get this back in with this great big proboscis nose on it? The answer is with great difficulty. Because it will not want to go in there, obviously. Okay. Maybe that could be my future next big adventure. Go ride on a Tornado, because the mountains anymore. It'd be a private one, wouldn't it? Or go to Germany, perhaps. I like the Tornado. I'd like to have had a ride on one of those. Or the Eurofighter Typhoon. Keep hoping somebody will bring out a decent one of those soon. Maybe Airfix, you know. 48 scale would be cool. Right, the last bag, in fact. Now this has got the clear parts in. Now I'm very nervous about the clear parts because of my own experience last time. They were not in good shape. They came and they were broken. One had a big scratch across it, and the other part was all broken off. And because they're broken off, they were scuffing and they were scratched. I could probably have recovered them, but I'm sorry, 135 quid. No, again, I'm not tolerating that for that sort of money. Zero tolerance to that sort of nonsense. If you want to charge top dollar for your product, you better deliver a good product. I'm sorry. If you want to cut corners, then charge 80 quid, not 135. Let's see what we got. Okay, so they are in a separate bag. That's good. Again, though, they're not off the sprue like mine was, but not far off. It only has one attachment point on the main canopy. Should have had two, I think. Anyway, we'll look at this first. What? That's making a funny noise. That's coming off the sprue. Another part that's on its last legs. Is that broken? No, it's okay. Just come off the sprue. It's not broken. But again, it's a very flimsy, oversized sprues, you know, and then you've got big instruction books flying around in the box when it's going to happen, isn't it? Damage will happen. However, all my grouching, but this has got some lovely parts in it. Have a look at this. So here you got your glove veins where the wing folds out here, and that's nice. Tiny hint of flash, but nothing to worry about. They've done that really well, in fairness. Yes, I like that. And then over here we've got all the trunking, which is fairly sort of rudimentary internal stuff. All the trunking. This piece that's trying to leave the sprue here because it wasn't very well secured, and actually both of them are the same. See what I mean? It's not. It's too flimsy and there's too much chance for damage. So that's the pivot point where the wings attach, I think. And then here we've got part of the. This is the little bit directly behind the cockpit. Big, isn't it? And there's some nice moulding going on here. There's some nice, you know, the tool's nice. Again, a tiny hint of flash here, but nothing too bad, thank God, because this would be a real problem if it was any worse. But there's some lovely hydraulics on the main gear. Look, see that? That is very nice indeed. I tell you, it just wants a little scrape. The other one's all right actually, but that one, where my thumb is, that just wants a little scrape just to clean it up. But overall, pretty good. Then you've got your little bits of your trolley here that make up your dolly, I should say, for your engine, spare engine. Sorry, not spare, but if you decide to have one out. And then you've got some of these parts where you've got the side walls with things like compressor, oxygen bottles, and various hydraulic wires and hoses. And I think that's the arm for the air brake arms, operating arm. Yeah, that's it. I'm a little bit disappointed that Flash is still hiccuping up here and there. You know, if you look at even Great Wall Hobby or Meng, ICM, Katare, Tamiya, Zokimura, none of these guys at this sort of price level have got Flash on their kits. They haven't. They just don't. And this is why I get a bit cross with Italeri. I think that if you want to play the big boys game and put your price up in that league, you need to deliver. You need to deliver. And I'm not sure if I'm being brutally honest about this kit, this particular kit. Put it the other way. Hang on a second. I'm not completely being honest with you. I'm not completely convinced that this going back to 135 quid. It's like they've got this obsession with it being 135 quid. Still, after all this time. And I'm not, the point I'm making, I'm not really convinced that the extras they've thrown in are enough to justify that compared to the original version. They've had a couple more schemes, a couple of different laser guided bombs. That's kind of it, really. So I'm a bit. I still feel it's too expensive, really. Flash on it at 135. No, that's going to hurt it in the final verdict, I think. Let's have a look at the clear parts. A bit extra careful because I know that these can be problematic. Now you see, there's scuffing and marks on it already, and I just opened it. You just watch me take it out of the bag. Look at the top. I mean, this is not deal breaking. The windscreen is lovely, but the main canopy. Why? Because it hasn't been protected. You know, you've got Tamiya and Meng and people like that. Now, even Great Wall Hobby putting bits of foam in to protect it. It's got this one mounting point where my finger is here, and that's it. Now, can you see this discoloration and scuffing that it's suffered? This is not as bad as what I had, but it's not a great deal better. There's a lot of scuffing here, and then there's a line of scuffing that runs along here. Just next to the deck cord. I don't know if you can make it out on the camera. Just below the deck cord as you're looking at it now. Here, there's scuffing and then it goes up there and then down here. And then you've got scuffing here. Again, it's not a deal breaker. You know, modelers can get around it, but you're paying top dollar for it. Now, part of that is bad packaging. Most of it is, let's be honest. The actual quality of the clear part, I mean, that windscreen is nice actually. Yeah. I don't think there's a problem with the windscreen. That seems to be okay, but it's kind of a bit safer there. But you know, the design of that sprue isn't clever. It needs to have what you see with people like Great Wall Hobby and the other Japanese manufacturers I mentioned. What they'll do is they'll put a like a bridge, like a bracket that goes over it to protect it from any possible scuffing. And they just haven't bothered to do that. This is like a 72nd scale kit, the way it's been conceived, the sprue. They just haven't put any thought into it at all. It's also warped to hell. Can you see that? There's a lot of warpage. I desperately wanted to like this kit. I thought this time perhaps they've just got their act together finally. But I'm not sure they have. Look at the warping. And we saw one of those sprues was warped, one of the wings on it. Now don't worry, the warpage won't affect the canopy because it is floating free. That's probably a good thing. And it won't affect, I don't think it's going to affect this windscreen either. So it probably won't have any detrimental impact. But on the other parts we talked about earlier, yes, I think it may. That wing, that starboard wing I was a bit worried about, that seemed to be warped. I don't know. They just don't seem to be getting it, do they? People say, oh, Italeri are good. Are they? Really? I don't think they are. I don't share that view, I'm afraid. I've yet to be convinced by Italeri, and I feel the same again. And I really did think that this was going to be quite cool. Parts of it are, other parts of it, for the price, are quite poor, I think. Having to go around cleaning up flash at 135 quid. No. I'm doing this mosquito. I'm not cleaning flash up on that. Anywhere, yeah? Anywhere, underlined. And that was only about £10. I think it was about 135 when it came out actually. So we're talking about a similar price point. It's gone up now because of exchange rates really. But you know, we're talking about at a level of price. Even if you talk about one of the 32nd scale kits from Tamiya, that 120 quid. You're not going to have these issues in those kits. You're just not. So I'm a little bit disappointed because my expectations were, as I said at the beginning, I'll take it as a fresh kit. But it reminds me of some of the problems that were there before. They remain. Bad instructions, not protecting it properly, not thinking about the packaging properly, you know, and having flash. There shouldn't be any flash. It's such a recent kit, this. Don't worry, Neil, I'll put this away for a second, but I will seal all these bags with some tape so they'll all be secured. So what do I think? Well, last time I said if it was the right price, I said I gave it a 6.5. Now I did have some fairly severe problems in my kit with scratched clear parts. It's £135 though. It's got some nice decals and some of the kit is lovely. It's compromised in many areas, and does it even deserve a 9? Really? I think in my mind about 8.75. 8.7. If it was cheaper, then it would be 9. If it was £100, it would be 9, 9.5, maybe 9.25. But £135, it still feels too much money. And the new parts and the new extras just don't seem to add enough value to me to make it worth another 35 quid. It's basically asking another 35% for something that's clearly not cost them much to do at all. Probably cost them a fiver, quite frankly. Seriously. One sprue of bombs and, you know, another couple of Decal options. It's not doing it for me. I think I'd struggle to give it 9. I want to give it more, I actually do. I'll let you decide. It's either 8.75 to 9. I'm going to say, if you're feeling generous, it's a 9. I think once you start having to clean up all those bits, that my words will come back and haunt poor Neil, and he'll be thinking, yeah, he's right, I shouldn't be doing this at 135 quid. And you shouldn't be having bad packaging and having a dented box either. That's appalling. I'm very surprised and disappointed at RANT. You know, they're one of the longest established model supply companies in Britain. And, you know, they have a fantastic range. They really need to focus more on their packaging, and I say that to Jadlam as well, and Wonderland. I think they're all guilty of that. I think it's like a disease that's spreading. It puts me off. It makes me want to go to Telford and just pick up stuff, maybe from these guys. I'm not suggesting you don't deal with them at all, but I don't think they can be sending stuff out in such a shoddy manner and carelessness. It's not acceptable. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. You used to be able to buy a car for that. If my dad was still alive, he said, I bought my Austin for less than that. You know? I know it's all relative, but even relative to its current competitors and products in the market, it's a lot of money. So I'm going with 8.75. I just... There's too many areas, and the price is what's hurting it the most. There is too many areas where it's compromised. We've got some quality issues, 1 or 2 minor ones. But flash, you can't have flash above 120 quid. It's just... Sorry, it's not acceptable. So that's me. I'm going to say 8.75. You can argue, say it's 9. Okay, but it's certainly nowhere near a 10. But it's a 10 out of 10 for Neil, because he was very kind to send that to us, and I'm very upset to be raining on his parade, because I'm sure he thought, wow, this would be great. Peter will love to do this, get a good review, you know. Yeah. And I was hoping to have a bit more of a positive story, and you know, it's only got, in my view, it's only got another 0.25, so it's only the same as it was really before when I did my own version of it, 8.5, but then I had some proper quality scratches and things. So it's really kind of at the same level. It would have been 8.75 without the scratches. Disappointing. Come on, Italeri, you can do better than this. The only person that comes out of this with any honour is Neil himself, and thank you very much to him for sharing it with me. And I'm sorry to have had to give him that bad news about the packaging. Just baffling. Rest assured, I will pack it properly for its return journey. It won't get any more damage, touch wood. You know, it's the same with Parcel Force or the postman. Anyway. Just want to have a more positive story, you know. Who was the manufacturer that I was very cynical about? And we had a good product from them. I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Edward? I'm trying to think. One of them that I was bit down on, and they produced a really nice kit, and I can't think what it was now. Some of you will be remembering better than me, I'm sure. In the last 12 months, I think it was. And they came up with something really excellent. I'm afraid Italeri, it hasn't moved the game on at all, that kit. It's this strange stuff with the plastic quality as well. That's not really a negative. I didn't mark it down for that, because none of that will be apparent once it gets painted, but just, you know, the weird language used in the instructions is all over the place. You know, surely somebody knows English better than that in Italy. I don't know, it just seems very odd to me. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much to Neil for loaning to us, because I say, you know, it's his hard-earned cash that's paid for that, and he deserved a bit better, certainly with the packaging. However, I'm sure a man of his great skill, I say that complimentarily. When he's not building Matchbox kits, he's a bloody genius, frankly. And he will, I'm sure, overcome those issues with aplomb. And actually, I do genuinely look forward to seeing him. Hope he does a video build of this, because that will be very interesting. And that will be something positive to come out of this. When he gets his hands on it and starts actually turning it into a model, I think it will be potentially something really epic. Really epic. There were some figures you could get. I'm trying to think who does the figures. There's some RAF figures you can get for this, and I just can't think. Is it Aerobonus? There is a manufacturer that does some for the Gulf War style Tornado crews. Worth looking up, Neil. If you're into your figures, that is. Anyway, until next time, thank you very much for watching. I hope you thought the review was interesting, if nothing else. Sorry I had a bit of a moan and rant about a few suppliers, but I thought they brought that on themselves, you know. And yes, I will get ready for Telford now, obviously. See a lot of you at Telford, no doubt. I'll be wandering about. I'm not going to have any sort of formal meet and greet. Our friends at ICM, I have asked them if they're going. I've got a feeling they might not be going this time. It's obviously a big commitment for them, and it's tricky, you know. So I'm not sure if they're actually going this time. They may just be. They may actually be on the Hannant stand. Awkward, you know. But yeah, I'd certainly like to see them there, but I won't be sort of having the meet and greet this year, because that doesn't mean don't meet and greet me. Please say hello if you see me. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. If I'm talking to somebody else, don't be put off. You know, I try to talk to everybody that wants to talk to me. But I did eat into my time a lot by standing with ICM. Not their fault, my fault. Me gassing too much, I think, really. But I did it on both days, and it did quite eat into my time, and ended up. I never get enough time with the clubs and the SIGs and the groups to talk to them, and I always find them rushing. So try and put some more time into that, so I don't miss stuff. And I missed the competition as well last year, so I must definitely see that. Hope to see you there. Anyway, in the meantime, still one or two videos I think to come through, and please stay tuned. Until next time, stay well, stay safe. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like, because people forget. And the channel's having a few issues at the moment, not of its own making, YouTube's making. So any support you can give us is much appreciated. Please do share the videos with anybody you think might be interested. Anybody that you know that's in the RAF or in the Gulf War, please share the video onto them. And until next time, thanks a lot. Take care of yourselves. And bye for now.